The air was still. The sky had dimmed into soft shades of purple and gold, painting the empty basketball court behind the college in a warm, fading light. You sat quietly on a cold bench in the far corner, arms wrapped tightly around your knees, your body curled into itself like you were trying to hide from the cruel world. Your eyes were red, your cheeks sticky from dried tears. The hollow feeling in your chest hadn't left, not since this morning. Yes, you cried, for hours, because of them, the girls who never left you alone. The ones who had made your voice into a joke again today. You had trained yourself to ignore them, brushing off their sneers and fake coughs mimicking your stammer. But today was different. Today, something snapped. The cruel way they mimicked your every syllable. The way they laughed as if your pain was a comedy show. It broke something inside you. You hadn't fought back. You never did. You simply ran until your legs gave up, until you ended up here, alone, trying to breathe through the ache. Your gaze was blankly focused on a tree nearby, a nest perched on a branch, and a little bird flapped its wings, feeding its babies. You stared without really seeing, letting it numb your thoughts. You felt small, distant. You didn't even notice some boys already arriving on the court, the sharp thud of sneakers on concrete, the cheerful shouting, the sound of a football bouncing across the court. They barely registered in your ears, not until one of them let out a laugh so loud it snapped you back to reality. You flinched slightly. You turned your head just a little and saw them. 5 or 6 boys, all in casual tees and shorts, running across the court. They were laughing, pushing each other playfully, passing the football back and forth. You recognized them. Maybe seniors, not your type of crowd. You felt your throat suddenly dry up. You hadn't had water since you came here hours ago. Carefully, you reached into your bag, your fingers trembling slightly as they wrapped around your water bottle. You unscrewed the cap, still not sparing even a second glance at the boys. Just as you raised the bottle to your lips, crack, your head jerked to the side as a heavy force slammed into it. The bottle slipped from your hand, splashing the cold water across your skirt and thighs. A dull, stinging pain shot through your temple, and your ears rang for a second. Your heart skipped, confused, dazed. You looked down to see a football lying near your feet. Voices followed almost instantly, shouting, rushing, urgent. Shit, yo, someone's sitting there. Wait, what the hell? Since when was she even here? Their sneakers squeaked against the ground as they ran toward you. Are you okay? One asked, crouching to grab the bottle. We didn't see you, I swear. Another pulled a handkerchief from his pocket. Here, your face. Are you alright? You didn't respond. You couldn't. You were frozen, still stunned from the impact and from the sudden attention. Your lips parted slightly, but no sound came. And then, you saw him. The footsteps slowed. The rest of the noise faded as one of the boys stepped closer than the rest. Tall, built, handsome. It was Jeon Jungkook. Your breath hitched. The Jungkook, senior, star of the basketball team, calm, reserved, but impossibly attractive. Girls followed him like shadows. He rarely smiled, but when he did, it could stop hearts. Obviously you know him. And now he was standing in front of you, concern etched into his usually unreadable face. He crouched down, reaching a gentle hand toward you. His fingers carefully touched the spot on your head where the ball had hit. His touch was soft, soothing, and yet your skin burned under it. Jungkook, does it hurt? He asked, voice low and deep. I'm really sorry. We didn't mean to hit you. Are you alright? You looked at him, really looked. From this close, you could see the way his lashes curled, how his brows furrowed slightly when he focused on you. His sweat-dampened hair stuck to his forehead. There was a tiny mole beneath his bottom lip. He smelled faintly of cologne and summer air. He was beautiful, unreal, and you wanted to disappear. Because if you opened your mouth, if you spoke, that ugly, broken voice would come out. The stammer, the tremble, the thing everyone made fun of. What if he laughed? What if they all did? So you didn't say anything. You turned your eyes away, biting the inside of your cheek, and reached for your bag with shaking hands. You stood up, brushed your skirt, gave a polite bow. You raised your thumb in a quiet I'm fine gesture, and you walked away, fast. Behind you, silence lingered. Then someone chuckled. Sam, dude, she totally ignored you. Another responded, more thoughtful. Josh, no, I don't think she can speak. She didn't even scream when the ball hit her. Like, not a single sound. Jungkook stood up slowly, eyes still on your retreating figure. Jungkook, she can speak, he said quietly. The boys turned to him. Jack, huh? Jungkook, I've seen her, maybe last week in the corridor. She was talking to Professor Leah. I remember her. She can talk. Sam immediately raised a brow. Sam. Then she did ignore you. Ouch. Josh. She was embarrassed. Man. Josh defended. Did you see her face? She probably just didn't want to be around us. They shrugged and jogged back to the court, picking up the game again, shouting as if nothing had happened. But Jungkook didn't move. His eyes were fixed on where you had been. He saw more than the rest of them did. He saw the swollen redness around your eyes, the dried tear streaks on your cheeks, the shaky hands, the pale lips, the way your whole body trembled as if you were holding yourself together. You looked like someone who was already fighting a battle long before their ball hit you. Jungkook, you joining? A voice called out. He blinked slowly, his expression unreadable. Jungkook, yeah, I'm coming, he murmured. But even as he walked away, his mind stayed with the girl who said nothing, but somehow spoke loud enough to echo inside his chest. The room buzzed softly with leftover whispers from the last lecture. It was the second last class of the day, but for you, it felt like the day had already dragged on for years. Your body ached, your eyes burned, and your head felt like it had a heartbeat of its own. You sat hunched on the last bench, pressed tightly against the wall. The swelling on your forehead throbbed harder now, almost like it wanted to break through your skin. You hadn't even treated it. The bump was forming quickly, and your skin around it felt hot and sore. But you couldn't move. You didn't want to, because moving meant getting noticed. And you were tired of being noticed for all the wrong reasons. You kept your head lowered, your long hair falling forward to hide your face like a curtain. The professor had just left. Students were stretching, chatting, laughing, waiting for the next teacher to enter. The noise filled the air like fog. But then you heard her. Sarah. That voice always cut through everything like a knife. You could sense her before she even appeared. The sharp click of her heels on the floor, the way her laughter echoed a little louder than necessary, and of course, her loyal shadows, two girls who copied everything she did, including the way they looked at you. You stiffened. You didn't need to look up to know she'd seen you. Your heart began to race, your body already reacting, knowing what was coming. Not now, you silently begged. Please, not today. I can't take it today. But just when you were preparing yourself to be hit by her snide words, you felt something, cold, soft, surprising. A sudden, soothing pressure settled right against the corner of your forehead, right on the bump. Your gut breath caught, your whole body froze. It wasn't Sarah. This was something different. You blinked and slowly turned your head, your heart skipping a beat as you looked up, and saw Jeon Jungkook. You froze, your eyes widening. He was standing behind your bench, half leaning over it, his tall body angled just enough to balance without crushing the desk. His arm reached out, holding a small ice pack to your injury with careful fingers. His other hand was resting lightly on the bench for support. His body smelled faintly of chocolate and mint. You stared at him as if your brain forgot how to think. He was here, for you, Jungkook. Do you have any idea how long it took me to find this classroom? He muttered softly, his voice low, like he was trying not to draw attention, but failing, because the whole class was slowly going silent. All eyes were on you two now. You swallowed hard, still stunned, unable to believe this was happening. Jungkook, the bad boy who barely talked to someone ordinary as you, was standing this close, touching you with such care it made your chest tighten. Jungkook, you just ran off, he said, pressing the ice against your skin in small, slow circles. Didn't even treat it. Now look, it's already swelling. His brows were slightly furrowed, his gaze focused only on you. You panicked. Your hands shot up instinctively to push him away. Yin, and no, you said, your voice trembling, barely audible. He didn't move, his eyes stayed on yours. Jungkook, hey, he said gently, let me, just for a minute. You were about to shake your head when your eyes shifted. Sarah. She was standing in the middle of the classroom, mouth open, eyes wide in disbelief. Her arms were crossed tightly, and her two friends stood beside her, equally stunned. Students nearby had stopped talking, watching silently as if witnessing a scene from a drama. And then something strange happened. For the first time in your life, their stares didn't feel like poison. For once, you weren't the object of their mockery. You were the object of their jealousy. Because Jungkook was here, for you. Your hand slowly dropped from his wrist, letting him hold the ice pack closer. You looked up at him, your lips parting slightly, but no words came out. His expression softened, like he'd noticed the shift in your body. He carefully brushed your hair aside, tucking it behind your ear with a tenderness that made your skin tingle. Then, before you could process anything else, he leaned in and blew gently on your injury. Your eyes fluttered shut, The warmth of his breath over the cold ice made your chest rise sharply. You felt the tightness in your shoulders begin to ease, like someone had taken a little piece of your pain away. But that moment shattered when a boy from the front row passed by your desk, who seems not to give a damn about anyone. He looked at the two of you, then laughed loud enough for everyone to hear. "Why, Yin? Gotta be boyfriend now?" he mocked, dragging each syllable in a fake stutter. The laughter started instantly. A few students joined in. Sarah smiled wide. One of her friends even clapped. And just like that, all the warmth drained from your body. You stiffened, your breath caught in your throat. They knew your secret, your worst fear. You felt your fingers begin to tremble as your eyes dropped to the floor. You could barely breathe. You were sure Jungkook had heard. What if he figured it out? What if he realized that you were the girl they mocked for how she spoke? What if he laughed too? That single thought was enough to break you. Without meeting his eyes, you slowly reached up and took the ice pack from his hand. "Yin, thanks," you whispered, your voice flat and empty. You grabbed your bag, stood up quickly, and rushed toward the door, not looking back, not even once. Jungkook stood still, confused and stunned. His eyes followed the direction you had run off to, his heart heavy. He didn't understand why you left so suddenly. After letting him help you, after quietly allowing him to hold you like that, why would you pull away again? His brows furrowed as he whispered under his breath, "Jungkook, why is she doing that?" But before he could think deeper, a loud burst of laughter pulled him out of his thoughts. He turned, and his eyes locked onto a group of girls walking toward him, their faces painted with makeup and insincere smiles. "Jungkook Sr., one of them spoke, her voice falsely sweet. "Are you really dating that dumb girl?" The way she said it made his blood boil. Another girl stepped closer, scoffing. "She doesn't even speak, and when she does, she exaggerated her breath and puffed her cheeks like a child, mimicking your stammer, cruelly. Ha hi hi, Jungkook." The girls burst out laughing again, shamelessly. She stammers. Jungkook's eyes widened as he listened in disbelief. "You stammer? That's why you avoided speaking so much?" His heart suddenly dropped to his stomach. "No wonder you ran off. That boy earlier didn't just make a joke. He exposed something you were desperately trying to hide. And these girls, your own classmates, were standing here ridiculing the very thing that made you most self-conscious. You deserve better, Appa." One of the girls giggled, eyes fluttering up at him. But Jungkook's eyes didn't soften. They darkened. He stepped forward slowly, the way a storm gathers. "Jungkook, hey," he said, voice low and sharp. "Watch your mouth." His tone sliced through the air, making a few heads turn. But the girls didn't stop. They kept going, laughing, almost proud of their bullying. That's when it happened. He snapped, "Shut up." His voice thundered through the classroom. A wave of silence fell instantly. Chairs stopped creaking, whispers died, and eyes widened in disbelief. No one had ever heard Jeon Jungkook yell like that. He always threatens in silence. The girls immediately froze, their faces pale, his jaw clenched, his eyes burning with fury. He pointed at them, breathing heavily, his voice shaking with emotion. "Jungkook, if I ever hear you mocking her again, if I see you even look at her the wrong way, you better consider it your last damn day in this college. Got it?" They nodded, too scared to speak. But Jungkook wasn't done. His eyes searched the room until they landed on the boy who had mocked your voice earlier, the one who started the whole chain of humiliation. "Jungkook, you," he said, pointing directly at him. "Come here." The boy hesitated, trembling, but Jungkook's glare was enough to force his legs to move. As soon as he got close, Jungkook grabbed his jaw tightly, not hurting him, but firm enough to make the boy freeze. "Jungkook, you think that was funny?" he growled, his face close, mocking someone who's already hurting. The boy whimpered, unable to reply. Jungkook leaned in closer, eyes locked onto his. "Meet me tomorrow morning, basketball ground. I've got something special for you." He released the boy's jaw and turned around without waiting for a response. The boy stumbled back to his seat, heart pounding in terror, while Jungkook walked out of the classroom, his chest tight and breathing uneven. Behind him, Sarah and her friends stood frozen, trembling as reality crashed down on them. "Sarah, the heck? He's so dangerous," she whispered, unable to believe what she just saw. "Lena, we should stay away from Yin," she stuttered, grabbing Sarah's arm. "I don't want to end up like that guy, I'm serious." But Sarah didn't reply. She just stared at the door Jungkook walked out through, her throat dry, her heart twisting with a jealousy she could no longer hide. For the first time, someone had stood up for you, and it was him. It was the next day, and Jungkook was restless. He hadn't seen you all morning, you weren't in class, and your absence made his chest feel strangely empty. He kept glancing at the seat where you usually sat, vacant. His eyes often drifted toward the classroom door, hoping to see you walk in, but you never did. Now it was lunchtime, and the only place left to check was the cafeteria. That made sense. Maybe you were hungry, and something in his chest told him that's where you'd be. With his heart bouncing inside his chest, Jungkook made his way to the canteen. A strange feeling twisted inside him, something he wasn't used to. It wasn't just curiosity anymore. It was something more, a soft crush maybe, a strong need to hear your voice. He smiled to himself, imagining the way you might stammer. He didn't know why, but he wanted to hear it. He'd imagined it over and over. The way your words might tremble, the way you might look away while speaking. And yet, none of that mattered to him. He just wanted you to talk to him, even if it was just one word, even if your voice shook. As he stepped into the cafeteria, the smell of food hit his nose, but he wasn't here to eat. His eyes scanned the crowded tables, skipping over every group, searching for one face only. And then he saw you. There you were, sitting alone at a corner table, your head down, quietly eating. His breath caught in his throat for a second. You were shoving your food with your head low like you didn't want to be noticed. Your hair fell over your face, hiding you, but he could still see your little frown, your soft features, the way you held your fork too tightly like you were nervous even now. He tilted his head slightly, just admiring you for a second. You looked so delicate, so closed off. Then a voice broke his daze. Josh. Hey, Jungkook, come here, man. We were waiting for you. Jungkook blinked and frowned, annoyed by the interruption. He glanced at the group of boys waving him over. He shook his head and mouthed, Jungkook, you guys go ahead. Before turning his eyes back to you, without wasting another second, he started walking, no, half running, towards you, a goofy grin dancing in his mind like a happy little kid skipping across a field. He didn't know why, but this moment felt exciting, like a mission. He reached your table and without asking, slid into the seat right beside you. Jungkook, hey, beautiful, remember me? His voice was soft teasing, but you didn't look happy. In fact, you frowned, your chewing slowed, and your eyes didn't even bother looking up at him. You didn't like his presence. That was clear. You didn't hide it. Jungkook, relax. I'm just here to check on the bump. He reached his hand forward gently, trying to touch your forehead, but you leaned back immediately, your body reacting almost fearfully. He paused, confused. You remembered how your body had reacted yesterday. His touch had sent unfamiliar shivers down your spine, and it scared you. You didn't want to feel anything, especially not for someone like him, because one day, he'd hear your voice, he'd hear your stammer, and he'd laugh like everyone else. Jungkook, your name is Yin, right? Your eyes widened a bit. How did he know your name? But still, you said nothing. You dropped your gaze again and kept eating, ignoring him. Jungkook sighed. He rested his head on his palm, elbow on the table, body tilted toward you. His eyes studied your every move. He noticed the way your lips pressed into a thin line, the way you played with your food more than you ate it. But you weren't telling him to go, at least not yet, not because you wanted him there, but because your bullies were in the cafeteria too, Sarah, Lena, Mia, and the rest of their group. You could feel their eyes digging into your back as soon as Jungkook sat beside you. Jungkook, Yin, he said softly, won't you talk to me? Your spoon paused midair, hand frozen as your eyes stared ahead blankly. You hadn't even realized until now. He was right. Aside from that thanks yesterday, you hadn't said a single word to him, not one, and yet, he was here, sitting beside you like he had known you for years. You quickly shoved the next bite in your mouth, trying to look unaffected. But then, he smirked again, leaning in with a teasing glint in his eyes. Jungkook, you know, you're acting like an angry girlfriend. Your head whipped to the side as you glared at him, a heat blooming in your cheeks. Was he seriously joking at a time like this? But Jungkook only chuckled, finding your silent rage incredibly adorable. He wanted more of it. God, she's cute. I'm serious, he added with a grin. I keep trying, and you keep ignoring me. What else am I supposed to think? You rolled your eyes and looked away again, but your heart was thumping hard now. Jungkook leaned back for a moment, his fingers drumming on the table. Jungkook, well, I've got a surprise for you, he said mischievously. Before you could react, someone walked up to your table. The same guy from yesterday, the one who had made fun of you in class, only today. He looked different, completely different. His shirt was messy, hair ruffled, and his face pale with fear. You tensed immediately. Was he here to mock you again, in front of Jungkook? But instead, he stood frozen for a second before bowing slightly toward you. I'm sorry, Yin. I swear. I'll behave now. I won't bother you again. But senior. He glanced nervously at Jungkook. It wasn't just me. Sarah, Lena, Mia, and the others. They all treat her badly too. Jungkook's face changed in an instant. The soft boy who had been smiling at you was now gone. His jaw clenched. His eyes turned cold and sharp. He leaned back, in his seat like a mafia boss, voice calm but dangerous. Jungkook, then go call them. But before the guy could even turn, the girls were already approaching. Their faces, nervous and pale, they had clearly seen enough to know not to test Jungkook's patience. One by one, they came closer, stopping right in front of you, their heads bowed slightly, voices trembling. We're so sorry, Yin. Sarah spoke first. We didn't mean to. We were just. Lena tried to justify but stopped mid-sentence under Jungkook's glare. We're really sorry, Yin, Mia added quickly, wringing her hands together. But you couldn't even hear their voices properly. Your ears were ringing, your chest felt tight, your hands shook in your lap. This was too much. Too many eyes, too many emotions. You didn't want their apologies. Not like this. Not because they were scared of Jungkook, and especially not in front of him. So he knew now. He knew about your stammer, your shame, your weakest part, the part you worked so hard to hide from him. You stood up so fast your chair nearly toppled over. You didn't say a word. You didn't look at anyone. You just ran, your footsteps echoing through the silence that had fallen over the cafeteria. Jungkook, Yin, he called out, quickly standing and trying to grab your hand, but he missed it by a second. You were gone. He cursed under his breath and chased after you, weaving through the tables, ignoring everyone else who stared. Your name left his lips again, softer this time, Yin. He just wanted to understand you, and all he wanted was for you to give him a chance. But you were already out the door, lost in the rush of everything. You couldn't explain. Would you let him in, or would you keep running forever? You sat down on the same bench as yesterday, the one tucked beneath the old oak tree, away from everyone. The breeze was gentle, brushing against your skin, and the sky above was painted with soft morning light. The school grounds were quieter here. You liked that. No one stared. No one whispered. But today, you weren't alone. You felt him before you saw him. You heard the soft crunch of his footsteps on the gravel behind you. Jungkook. You didn't turn around, but your heart knew. You'd heard him call your name earlier, again and again, each time with more softness than the last. And you knew he would come. He walked around the bench slowly and sat beside you, leaving a little space but still close enough that you could feel the quiet heat of his body beside yours. His voice came gently, almost like a breeze brushing your ear. Jungkook, Yin. You didn't respond. He leaned in slightly, gently nudging your elbow, careful not to startle you. His head tilted as he tried to peek at your face. Jungkook, I'm sorry, you had to go through that. I should have stopped them sooner, he said quietly. But now, no one's going to hurt you. Not when I'm around, I promise. You stayed silent, your eyes fixed ahead. That promise, it didn't soothe you. It made something inside you boil. Why was he doing this? You hadn't asked for a savior. You clenched your jaw, anger swelling in your chest. You didn't need someone to protect you. You had spent your whole life learning how to survive alone. Your head turned toward him slowly, sharply. Your body shifted, your knee brushing his by accident. You didn't notice, but he did. His breath hitched slightly, as if the smallest touch of your skin had sent a sudden spark through him. Your eyes narrowed, and then your lips parted. Yin, why? The word escaped in a low breath. Jungkook blinked, his eyes lit up. He leaned in closer, excitement rushing to his chest, his heart racing at the sound of your voice. Jungkook, why what beautiful? He asked gently, like he was afraid you'd stop speaking. You bit your bottom lip nervously, blinking away the sting behind your eyes. You sat up straighter, gathering the strength to speak again. Yin, why do you help? The sentence cracked and shook from your mouth, but you said it. You asked what had been clawing inside you since the moment he first offended you. Jungkook stared, lips parted slightly. He looked stunned, like your voice alone had wrapped around his heart and squeezed it. For a second, he forgot how to respond. Jungkook, because, he said finally, letting out a soft chuckle. You're beautiful, I guess. You blinked hard, your fists clenched. Wrong answer. You glared at him, your anger bubbling again. You turned your face sharply toward him. Yin, Don't I know. No yo. You wanna mac. Make fa. Your breath caught. It was hard to breathe when you speak long sentences. You clenched your jaw and forced the last word out. Fun. There. You said it. You said what was breaking your heart every time you saw someone smirk at your struggle to speak. But instead of being shocked or denying it, Jungkook smiled, a soft, bright, genuine smile. Before you could react, his hand gently reached up and tucked a strand of your hair behind your ear. His fingers grazed your skin, and his thumb gently rubbed over the curve of your ear. Jungkook, say my name, he whispered. Your eyes widened. You jerked away slightly and pushed his hand aside. Yin, stop, you muttered. Jungkook tilted his head, his gaze following your face even as you looked away. Jungkook, your voice, he said in a soft breath. It's addictive. I swear to God, I think I fell in love. Your chest tightened. You looked at him in shock, eyes wide, jaw slightly open. Your hand instinctively came up to his chest, trying to keep him from leaning into close. But he only smiled wider, as if he was enjoying how flustered you were. Jungkook, I mean it, he said. I think I fell in love with your voice. It's so raw, so beautiful. Your eyes dropped. You looked away, hiding your face. The heat was rising to your cheeks now. Yin, don't flirt, you whispered. He chuckled again, soft and low. His fingers brushed your hair gently off your shoulder, just to see your face clearly. Jungkook, I'm not flirting, he said honestly. I'm being real. He leaned a little closer, eyes never leaving yours. I'm Jungkook, he said, his voice playful now. Can you say my name? You shook your head fast. No, he wasn't getting that. Not so easily. Please, he whispered, with a hopeful smile that made your heart ache. Yin, go away, you muttered. But he didn't move. Instead, he laughed, quiet and soft, like it was the most beautiful thing he'd heard. Jungkook, what if I don't? You puffed your cheeks in frustration and started to stand up. Yin, we will. You warned, your voice trembling again. His smile faded a little. He panicked and gently caught your wrist. Jungkook, no wait, please. I'm sorry, please sit. His voice wasn't teasing now. He was serious, desperate even. You hesitated. Your legs stayed frozen. You didn't want to give in. But something about the way he looked at you, so soft, so honest, made you sit back down. You glanced up at him and found his eyes already locked on yours. His gaze was so full of affection it made your heart twist. Your breath caught in your throat. There was something about the way he looked at you. It wasn't pity. It wasn't curiosity. It was something else. He didn't let you leave. He kept talking, not asking too much, just enough to keep you answering. And you found yourself doing the impossible. You were talking back, and for the first time in a long time, you didn't want to stop. Days passed, and your bond with Jungkook deepened in ways you never expected. He had slowly cracked the shell you built around yourself. He made you speak even when words felt heavy. He made you laugh when you didn't want to smile. He even made you whine like a child when he teased you. But despite all that closeness, there was still one thing you hadn't given him: your voice saying his name. He wanted to hear it, just once, rolling softly from your lips. But you remained shy, and that small mystery about you made him all the more drawn. Still, he knew everything else, like how you lived quietly with your aunt in a small 2-bedroom house near the bookstore. He knew your favorite food was chicken kimbap, and you liked your coffee cold, even in winter. He knew you hated loud noises, that you always read a few pages of poetry before bed, and that you found comfort in hugging your pillow tightly while sleeping. You didn't like crowds, you loved the color mint green, and you always wore mismatched socks without realizing it. Jungkook noticed all of it. He watched, listened, remembered. You didn't even realize he paid such close attention to the smallest things about you until one day, you weren't there. He searched for you everywhere this morning. First, the bench near the basketball court where you always sat with your notebook, then the cafeteria table you preferred by the window. But you were nowhere to be seen. His steps slowed as he sighed, hands deep in his pockets. The warmth he usually felt from spotting you from afar was missing today, replaced by a dull ache in his chest. He didn't even have your number, something he now deeply regretted. As he walked toward his classroom, head low and heart heavier than he wanted to admit, he bumped into someone. It was Josh. The boy raised his brows and smirked slightly. Josh, oh, look who's walking alone today. No Yin. Jungkook managed a tight smile, scanning the hallway behind Josh just in case. Jungkook, I think she didn't come today, he muttered, his voice quiet. Josh gave a lazy nod. Josh, huh? Strange, and turned to walk away. But then, just as Jungkook was about to do the same, he felt a small, familiar tug on the sleeve of his jacket. He paused. His heart stopped for a second. Slowly, he turned, and there you were, standing just behind him, your tiny fingers lightly holding the fabric of his sleeve, your head lowered, but your eyes peeking up at him with a shy smile. That was all it took. His lips parted, eyes softening instantly. Josh chuckled behind him. Josh, oh, there she is. I'll leave you two alone, and walked off without another word. Jungkook didn't even hear him. His entire focus was on you. He turned fully, gently cupping your face with both hands as if making sure you were really there. Jungkook, where were you, huh? He asked softly, his thumbs brushing your cheeks. I looked for you everywhere. At the basketball area, class, even by the cantini. You looked down, voice barely above a whisper. Yin, light, Libra Brary. He could see the tension in your eyes. You looked tired, distracted, and your body seemed more slouched than usual. He leaned a little closer, his brows knitting in concern. Jungkook, are you okay? You look stressed. You nodded instantly. You were stressed. He immediately held your hand, his grip warm but gentle, thumb stroking the back of your palm. Jungkook, did someone bother you? He asked, worry flashing in his eyes. Your eyes widened, and you quickly shook your head. Then, after taking a deep breath, you tried to speak. Yin, can why you do me a favor? His heart softened at your stammer. It was something he found incredibly endearing now, how you tried so hard to speak despite the struggle. He tucked a loose strand of hair behind your ear, nodding, his voice low and calm. Jungkook, anything, just tell me. You met his eyes, still timid. Yin, there's a project, and no one wants to pair with me, can you help? Without a second thought, he smiled and leaned closer. Jungkook, of course, beautiful. Want to come over to my place? We can work on it together. Your eyes blinked in surprise. He noticed your hesitation and quickly added, Jungkook, it's totally okay if you're not comfortable. I just thought, I could cook something nice for you, and we could work quietly without the usual noise of campus. You bit your lip, head tilted down as your shoe softly tapped against the ground. You were debating, nervous, but tempted. Then slowly, you nodded. That tiny nod made his whole chest fill with warmth. A bright smile broke on his lips, dimples appearing on both sides of his cheeks as he reached up and ruffled your hair. Jungkook, 6 p.m., is that okay? You gave another soft nod, then mumbled quickly, under your breath, Yin, CLA class, and dashed off in the other direction, your ears pink and your steps fast. Jungkook stood there, watching you disappear down the hallway, a deep chuckle rising in his throat. Jungkook, she's so damn gorgeous, he whispered to himself, his heart full and light. That evening couldn't come soon enough. You stood outside his house, heart fluttering as your eyes scanned the large wooden door in front of you. The mansion stood tall and beautiful, its grand white pillars and perfectly trimmed hedges making you feel even smaller than usual. You hugged your bag tighter to your chest. You were early. The plan was to meet him at 6 p.m., but your nervous excitement brought you here at 5:45. You didn't want to look too eager, but you couldn't help it. This was the first time you were visiting his house. The thought of being alone with him, just the two of you, made your chest tighten with a strange mix of thrill and anxiety. You swallowed the nervous lump in your throat and slowly raised your hand to press the bell. A soft chime echoed from inside. Then silence. You stepped back slightly. A moment later, the door creaked open with a click, and to your surprise, it wasn't Jungkook who opened the door. Instead, a kind-faced woman stood there, her soft brown eyes landing on you warmly. She looked to be in her late 40s, wearing a pale lavender sweater and an apron with faint flower stains. Oh, hello sweetheart, she greeted cheerfully. Come in. I'm Jungkook's mother. Your eyes widened. You instantly bowed your head out of respect and stepped inside without a word. You didn't speak, your tongue froze, not wanting her to hear your stammer. But she didn't seem to mind your silence. She simply smiled and led you in. The warmth of the house was instant, soft lights, faint smell of something delicious drifting from the kitchen. Just as you stepped inside the living room, you saw him. Jungkook walked out of the kitchen, a towel over his shoulder, sleeves rolled up to his elbows. His dark hair was slightly messy, like he had been rushing. His eyes then suddenly landed on you, and a slow, boyish smile spread across his face. Jungkook, oh, hello beautiful, he said with a teasing grin. Welcome. You blinked. Your heart stuttered in your chest. He had just called you beautiful, in front of his mother. You expected her to scold him or raise a brow, but instead, she laughed. Jungkook, your girlfriend is so lovely, she said with a wink. You froze. Girlfriend? Your lips parted, trying to form a response. Yin, I am I. But before you could even find your voice, Jungkook was already at your side, wrapping an arm around your shoulder. Jungkook, Moom. He whined like a teenager caught in a lie, tugging you along. Quickly. You're embarrassing me. She only chuckled behind you. I'm just saying what I see. Jungkook didn't wait for you to react. He practically guided you, no, half dragged you, toward the staircase, his hand warm and firm on your arm. You stumbled along, still stunned, while your heart beat wildly inside your chest. Once the door to his room closed behind you both, he sighed and shook his head with a laugh. Jungkook, sorry about her. Don't mind it. She just likes to make jokes. You nodded silently, though the thought stayed heavy in your chest. He had told his mother about you, enough that she thought you were his girlfriend. That meant you mattered. Somehow, even if it was just a little. You quickly set your bag down on his bed, trying to change the subject, your cheeks still burning. Yin, la, let's street start. You didn't finish your sentence, but he knew what you meant. He watched as you opened your notebook with slightly trembling fingers, your small frame perched on the edge of his bed. Your legs dangled slightly above the ground, swinging nervously. He couldn't stop the smile that tugged at his lips. Everything about you was so soft, so unguarded, it made his chest warm. He sat beside you, close but not too close, just enough for your shoulders to almost touch. Jungkook, okay, he said softly. Let's get started. But then he paused, turned his face slightly toward you, and his voice dropped to a low, teasing whisper. Jungkook, you know, if you really were my girlfriend, this is exactly how I'd want it to be. You blinked, your heart jumping. He leaned in just a little more, his smirk playful but his eyes warm. Jungkook, you, sitting on my bed, swinging your feet like that, acting shy, it's too adorable. I might die. Your lips parted in shock, your face burning even more. Yin, you in? Flustered beyond words. He leaned back, chuckling, clearly enjoying your reaction. Jungkook, okay, he said, holding his hands up. Let's study. You tried to focus on the notebook, but his words echoed in your mind, and you couldn't help but think, if this was what being his girlfriend felt like, you didn't think you'd mind it at all. It was almost 8 p.m. and the soft evening lights from outside gently painted the room in a warm, golden hue. For the past 2 hours, you and Jungkook had been completely absorbed in your project. Papers were scattered across the bed, pens left open, and your laptop sat beside you, half forgotten. Jungkook had been stealing glances at you the entire time. You were seated cross-legged in the middle of the bed, your back straight, despite the exhaustion clearly visible on your face. Your eyelids were heavy, blinking slowly as you tried your best to stay focused. Jungkook, on the other hand, was lying on his stomach beside you, propped up on his elbows with a pen twirling between his fingers, watching you, more than the project. He noticed how your shoulders drooped, how your fingers kept fumbling on the page, and how you yawned quietly behind your palm. He couldn't take it anymore. Jungkook, okay, that's it. No more working. He rolled over and sat up, tossing his pen aside. You looked at him, confused, slightly startled by his sudden change of tone. You've worked too hard today. I made your favorite, so just stay here and don't move. I'll plate it and be right back, okay? He smiled gently, brushing his thumb against your temple. Your lips curled up tiredly, and you gave a small nod. Yin, oh okay. You dropped your pen, stretched your arms above your head, and let out a small sigh. The moment your body relaxed against the headboard, your eyes began to droop. Just a few seconds, you told yourself, closing your eyes. Meanwhile, Jungkook rushed to the kitchen, plating the food with so much care, carefully arranging it so everything looked and tasted perfect. It took him nearly 10 minutes, but when he returned to the room, something stopped him in his tracks. You were sleeping, your head tilted slightly to the side, resting on the headboard, your hair falling softly over your face, and your lips slightly parted as you breathed slowly. A peaceful, innocent expression washed over your face. Jungkook's eyes softened instantly. Jungkook, she's really tired. He carefully placed the tray on the other side of the bed, moving with such quiet steps as if he were afraid even the sound of his breath would wake you. Then he sat beside you slowly, his gaze never leaving your face. He didn't want to wake you up just yet. He just wanted to look at you. His fingers reached up, gently brushing the hair off your forehead. Jungkook, you're so beautiful. He didn't even realize he'd said it aloud, but it wasn't the first time. He had whispered these words to himself more times than he could count. He was in love. Deep, hopeless love. Every little detail of your face tugged at his heart. Your small nose, your soft cheeks, your delicate lashes, your lips, especially your lips. They looked so soft, so tempting. His stomach flipped. His breath caught. Would he ever get to kiss you? Would you let him? He wanted it. He wanted you. So badly. As he was lost in the thought, his thumb traced the soft skin of your cheek gently. But just then, you stirred. Your eyelashes fluttered open slowly. Your vision was blurry at first, but you could make out a silhouette hovering close, very close. Jungkook, you blinked, your heart skipping. His face was inches from yours. His eyes staring into yours with something deep and raw. His hand was still on your cheek, his thumb gently rubbing your skin. You froze. Was he going to kiss you? Then, he spoke, voice low and careful. Jungkook, Yin. He leaned in just a little more, so close that his breath brushed your skin. Can I kiss you? Your heart skipped a beat, maybe two. You couldn't think, you couldn't breathe. You stared at his lips, then back into his eyes. Everything was spinning. And then, without meaning to, a small hum escaped your throat, a quiet, nervous as if your body answered for you. He didn't wait any longer. Jungkook leaned in slowly, cautiously, giving you time to pull away if you wanted to. But you didn't. Your breath hitched as his lips met yours, gentle and warm, like he was afraid you'd break. The kiss was soft at first, hesitant, but the moment he felt you leaning into it, his hands cupped both your cheeks and pulled you closer. He deepened the kiss, pouring all the emotions he had kept locked in for so long. He kissed you like you were everything he ever wanted. You could feel the urgency in his breath, the tremble in his hands. He moved closer, trying to close the space between your bodies. His hands brushed along your arms, down to your lap, where they found your tightly clenched hands. He gently unwrapped your fingers and brought them up to his chest, placing your palms right over his heart. Then he broke the kiss, just barely, his lips still brushing yours as he whispered, Jungkook, you feel that? He gently rubbed your palm over his chest, and you could feel it. His heart was racing like crazy. You blinked up at him, speechless. Yin, Jungkook. The moment you said his name clearly, softly, without hesitation, his whole body froze. His eyes widened in disbelief. Jungkook, say that again. You blinked, a shy smile tugging at your lips. Blushing, you said, Yin, Jungkook. He let out a breath, his mouth hanging open slightly, as if those syllables had just broken a dam inside him. Staring in awe, he whispered, Jungkook, you didn't stammer. Your cheeks turned red as you laughed shyly, giggling. You replied, Yin, I practiced, a lot. His eyes filled with something deep and warm. He cupped your cheeks again, unable to hold back the smile blooming on his lips. Jungkook, you practice my name? You nodded, embarrassed but smiling. He looked like he had just won the lottery. No, like he was the luckiest man on earth. Then suddenly, you pointed toward the tray beside him with a quiet laugh, rubbing your stomach playfully. Your eyes sparkled with hunger. Softly, you said, Yin, I'm hungry. He chuckled under his breath, picking up the tray. Affectionately, he said, Jungkook, of course you are. You worked so hard today. Let me take care of you now. And just like that, he began feeding you, slowly, gently, blowing on each bite and watching you chew like you were the most precious thing in the world. He didn't let you touch the spoon, didn't let you move. He just smiled, whispering small praises as he fed you, his eyes never leaving yours. And in that small, quiet moment, on that soft bed, with warm food, tired limbs, and trembling hearts, you knew something had changed between you. It wasn't friendship anymore, it was love. It was the final match of the championship. The energy inside the stadium was electric. Cheers, chants, and stomping feet echoed off the walls. Everyone was on edge, eyes locked on the court, breath caught in their throats. And then it happened. Jungkook leapt into the air, his movements fast and precise. The ball spun perfectly off his fingertips and swished into the basket. The buzzer rang. The stadium exploded. He had won. The crowd roared, fans jumping, players collapsing with joy. But amid the celebration, Jungkook didn't run to his team. He didn't scream or pump his fists. He stood in the center of the court, chest heaving, sweat dripping down his jaw, eyes searching for you. You were right where he placed you, front row, center, the seat he had chosen himself so you wouldn't miss a single second. Because he wanted you to see him, he wanted to show off to you. He wanted your eyes on him while he played, knowing exactly how hot he looked while doing it. And you had been watching him, every moment, every jump, every breath. You were cheering like crazy, hands clapping, voice cracking, heart pounding. You tried shouting full sentences, tried to express how proud you were, how amazing he looked, but you couldn't. The tension of the game swallowed your words, so you just screamed, eyes wide, cheeks flushed. And that's when everything changed. Jungkook looked right at you. No smile, no smirk, just eyes, dark, intense, burning with emotion. His body was shaking slightly, adrenaline mixing with something deeper. His teammates were hugging, confetti beginning to fall, but he didn't move. You watched as his lips parted. Then he threw his head back and shouted, so loud it seemed to cut through the chaos like a knife. Jungkook, Yin, I love you. The stadium froze, gasps, whispers, then the cameras turned. Suddenly, every eye was on you. You blinked stunned, your breath caught, your heart dropped to your stomach. What did he just say? Did he? Someone near you whispered. You stared at Jungkook, your mouth slightly open, your hands pressed to your chest. You were overwhelmed, completely. Jungkook didn't stop. His teammate Josh was already running, grinning like an idiot. He came rushing from the tunnel with a massive bouquet of deep red roses, Jungkook told to bring earlier, because all this moment was planned. Without hesitation, Josh handed Jungkook the flowers and ruffled his messy hair to straighten them, making the audience burst into laughter. Jungkook chuckled softly, but his eyes remained locked on you. Then he started walking, slow, deliberate steps. People were pulling out their phones, recording, whispering your name. Your heart raced wildly as he approached. Then he knelt down in front of you at a distance. Your breath hitched. He held the bouquet in one hand and extended the other toward you. His voice came out softer now, trembling slightly, not from nervousness, but from how much he meant it. Jungkook, let me be your boyfriend, Yin, he said gently. I love you. I love everything about you. I just want you. The moment swallowed you whole. He meant it. All those days you doubted yourself, all those nights you overthought everything. None of it mattered anymore, because here he was, telling you were enough, just as you are. Tears began falling from your eyes. You couldn't stop them. You didn't even try. You stood up slowly, legs trembling, hand pressed to your mouth as you tried to hold back a sob, but your heart had already decided. You stepped forward, nodding, again and again, desperate, shaky. You crouched down to his level, your hands cupping his face, your lips trembling, and you kissed him. The crowd went wild. People screamed, cheered, some laughed, some cried. A few covered their eyes and teased each other like they were watching a movie. Jungkook laughed against your lips, his hand slipping around your waist as he stood up, pulling you with him. Then he twirled you in the air like you were weightless, holding you tightly to his chest. You were still crying, your voice weak, but you wanted to say it too. You had to say it. Yin, I love you. You too, you whispered against his neck. Jungkook, you have no idea how happy I am right now, he whispered. You're mine now, right? Say it again. You laughed through your tears, sniffing and nodding. Yin, I am yours. He kissed you again, slower this time, deeper. His hand gently cradled the back of your head, the bouquet forgotten on the floor as his other arm wrapped protectively around your waist. The crowd didn't stop cheering. Some were chanting your names, others were clapping rhythmically, and in that moment, there was no court, no cameras, no people, just you and Jungkook, and the beginning of something unforgettable.